Hey everybody, today we're going to continue to work on synonyms. Remember that synonyms are two words that mean the same thing or close to the same thing. We can remember that like the S in same is just like the S in synonyms or in similar, right? We have synonyms are the same or they're similar. Those all start with S, which is really convenient. So today we're going to work on pages 156 and then we'll move on to 157 and that'll be your grammar work for today, okay? We're going to be identifying synonyms and we're going to be writing them in sentences. So we're going to start on part A. The directions say, read the words in the baseballs. Color each pair of synonyms the same color. So unfortunately, I only have my highlighter and my green pen with me right now. So I went ahead and I did some different markings just so that I know which pair is which. So if you're you only have a few colors, you can just write little marks so that you know which pair is with which, okay? So we'll start with imagine. When I think of the word imagine, I think of playing, I think of make believe, I think of things that are maybe not real, and that is very similar to pretend. Okay, so I highlighted those two to show myself that those are the pair of synonyms. I know that they're synonyms because they have very similar definitions. If I say, imagine that you're on a beach in Hawaii. Oh, that sounds nice. Or if I say, pretend you're on a beach in Hawaii, those actually mean the same thing, right? You're pretending when you imagine, and you're imagining when you pretend. So that's how I know that those are synonyms. The other pairs that I've found so far are easy and simple. If I say 1 plus 1 is easy, I could also say, well, 1 plus 1 is simple because I can do that with my hands really quickly, right? And we're second graders. We know what 1 plus 1 is. So for us, that is easy or simple. The last pair that I found so far was mark and spot. So I drew over here, this is like a little mark that I drew with my pen. Or if we talk about when we mark on the whiteboard, like I drew a mark on the whiteboard, it's the same thing as saying, well, I put a spot on the whiteboard, right? This is like a little spot. So they're very similar in their meaning. So that's how I know that they are a pair of synonyms. If I had like mark and a drawing or spot and a photograph, those are not synonyms because they mean something different. A photograph or a drawing is way more advanced and prettier than these two little things, right? So that's how I know that those two are synonyms. Go ahead and finish part A, and then we will go ahead and move on to part B. Okay, so for part B, we're actually going to be using a lot of the baseball pairings that we made up here. So make sure that you finish that before we move on to part B. The directions in part B say, rewrite each sentence using a synonym from the baseballs in place of the underlined word. So let's check out number 1. I erased the mark on my paper. I erased the mark on my paper. Okay, so I have a little mark over here, and let's pretend it's in pencil, and I erase it. Okay, I can also say, instead of mark, I'm gonna go up here, what was my pairing for mark? What did I say that the synonym to mark was? Oh, that's right, I said that it was spot, and I know that because I circled both of them. This was the pairing, mark and spot. So I can instead say, I erased the spot on my paper. I erased the spot on my paper. That does not change the meaning of this sentence. In fact, it just makes it a little bit more detailed because it's a spot. So maybe it's a little bit of a dot or a circle, right? So it doesn't change the meaning. They're very similar words. They almost mean the same thing. And that is how I know that they are synonyms. So go ahead and do that with numbers 2 to 5. Remember that you are looking at the word that's underlined, okay? So for this one, we're looking at the directions were easy to follow. Well, what did we say that easy was a pair with? Yes, simple. So you're going to rewrite this sentence with the word simple instead of easy. That underlined word is the word that we are replacing with its synonym. Go ahead and finish part B, and then we will move on to page 157. Okay, so now we're going to move on to page 157. The directions in part A say, look at the words. Write on the line a synonym for each word. So I have these words here and the ones next to it and these lines next to it. I'm just going to write what the synonym is. Now, in our previous page, on page 156, we have a whole list of these and what their synonyms are. So what I did was I said, okay, easy. I could think of a few synonyms for easy on my own, right? But what I could also do is take my page that I just worked on, and I already have the pairing of the synonyms. So I have easy and I put a star, and I have simple and I put a star, because remember I only had 2 colors. So easy and simple, I know that those are synonyms. So I can go ahead and just write simple in right here, okay? If you'd like to, you can come up with your own synonym. If you don't want to use simple, you think, oh, I'm going to challenge myself and think of my own synonym for easy. I encourage you to do that. That's totally fine. Or you can just use the ones that are given to us on page 156. So go ahead and do that for imagine, shut, spot, and run, and then you will be all done with part A. Then we'll move on to part B. Alrighty, so our final section that we are going to work on today is part B. Then you'll do the writer's corner, and then you will go ahead and upload this to Seesaw so that I can check your work. So part B says, read each sentence. Circle the correct synonym for the underlined word. Remember, just a reminder, synonym, that S, it means that these are words. Oh boy, there goes my handwriting. These are words that mean the same thing, okay, or similar. Same or similar. They are not different or opposite. They are the same. So, number 1, this recipe is simple. I just underlined the word simple again so that we can really see that that's the word that I'm focusing on. So when I think of the word simple, what does that mean? Is that saying that it's hard or that it's easy? Right, it's saying that it's easy. And if I wasn't sure, I could always double check up here or on my previous page. But by this point, I remember, okay, yeah, simple is a synonym for easy. So I'm going to circle easy. If I were to say this recipe is simple, and then my second sentence said, this recipe is hard, those two things are opposites. So they're not synonyms because they're not the same or similar. I need it to be the same, so I'm going to circle easy. Go ahead and do numbers 2 through 5 and make sure that you pay attention to which word is underlined and which one do you think is the more correct synonym. When you're all done with part B, I want you to work on the writer's corner. You can just write it right here on your page, or you can write it up here if you want a little more space. It tells you to write 2 sentences, 1, 2, about 2 things you do well. Use easy in one sentence. Use simple in the other sentence. So maybe something that I would write is, I think that cooking is easy because for me, I love cooking and I do think that it's easy, okay? Or maybe for you, there's a sport that you find is easy because you're really good at it and you've practiced. So go ahead and use those 2 words in each sentence. And when you are all done with the writer's corner and all of this page, you can go ahead and upload it to Seesaw and I will check it out. Thanks for doing this today with me, 2nd grade. I will talk to you soon.